watching YouTube, drinking coffee, and arguing with people in the comment section of this video. That's awesome. Don't be a North Korean soldier that's going to go get schwacked in some trench in Ukraine. Welcome back to the Trench Grenade channel. I am your host, the average 20-inch rifle enjoyer that your mom said that we have at home. Today we're just going to be talking about why speed kills and why your Mark 18 probably isn't the best option for you when it comes to any sort of WROL scenario. It's another kitchen rant. We're here in the kitchen, guys. You guys seem to like the kitchen rants. I just got done working a long week, okay, a long duty week. We are in cycle, so I am tired. I have no voice, as you guys know. Some of you guys know I'm a drill sergeant, so that's what the deal is with that. Guys, if you want to support the channel very briefly, I have not been using any sponsors lately to be able to bring my video to you more quickly. So if you want to keep this channel alive and you want to continue seeing me put this gun through the ringer, okay, we are at a 500 round update I will include in this video, okay, for the PSA 20-inch that is getting tested here on the channel. Many of you guys are tracking, but if you want to help recoup the loss of the price of this gun that I bought with my own money, okay, and the ammo that we're putting through it for the 10,000 round test, consider becoming a member of the Patreon. Thank you. I'll send you a link to the Discord server for all those that decide to join. Okay, speed kills. So if you're sitting at home right now and you got an AR pistol, first of all, post the barrel length below. And everyone right now, take a second and go down below and post your favorite barrel length and what ammunition you are actually going to use for any sort of SHTF, WROL scenario. I bet if a lot of these guys are honest with themselves, they're going to say something like 10.5 inch with my 55 grain. Well, that thing is going to be trash, okay? Especially if you're not suppressing it. So I think the 20-inch rifle, a 20-inch rifle, now this thing has an FN right hand 1-in-7 cold hammer forged chrome line barrel, okay? It's a really good freaking barrel in this gun right here. Free float with an M-lock rail. The M-lock rail is trash. We'll talk about it later on a more in-depth review once we get past 1,000 rounds with the PSA. But the longer the barrel, the better you're going to be. If you're shooting 55 grain out of your 10.5 inch gun, I'll even say anything less than 14.5, okay? Anything less than a 14.5 shooting 55 grain, you really need to get a vital hit with 5.56. 5.56 is only lethal because of speed, right? Velocity kills. So if you're at home right now and you're watching this video, first of all, thanks for watching. But if you're at home and you're like, dude, I'm just going to rock my AR pistol and I'm never going to need it because you saw what happened to anyone that's ever ran a rifle length, or a rifle barrel. It's too long for me. Well, I got news. It's time to grow up a little bit and realize that 20-inch barrels are pretty legit, man, and this thing is super lightweight, okay, and you know they're kind of good. So let's talk about 20-inch. Why should you go buy a 20-inch? Well, a lot of your engagements are not going to be as CQB distances, and even if they were, you can engage pretty easily, with your RMR or whatever you got going on. In this case, I have an RMR on top of an ACOG TA31, so for any real engagement, okay, guess what? I'm looking through the actual ACOG, and then if I need to engage up close, I'll just pick my head up, get a good cheek to stock on my A1 buttstock here, and I'm good to go. For most of you guys, having the ability to get very tight groups at long range, okay, 500, 600 meters, 700 meters is going to be super important, okay? So, especially if you're using your 55 grain ammo, which is really, really bad when it comes to terminal ballistics unless you have a long barrel. So if you're cheap, like most of you guys are, okay, I'm a cheap dude too, or poor, right? And you need to be able to get ammo that's going to do good stuff for you. Well, buy a longer barrel, okay? Buy an 18-inch. I would say buy a 20-inch. Get an M-lock rail or whatever type of rail you want. Now, I would not recommend necessarily a PSA. The weak point on this gun, I believe, will be the rail long term, okay? Just because it's kind of, I don't know, it's just kind of funky. And if you don't wear gloves, you can sometimes kind of poke through and burn yourself, is what I've noticed. But I recommend all of you guys have at least one good 18 or 20-inch barrel rifle, because that is going to give you the ability to really maximize the 55 grain 5.56, okay? So I know that a lot of guys want to run the AR pistol. They want to be able to be super maneuverable, and they want to be, you know, stacking on doors and whatever. Well, you guys have seen my take on CQB on the channel, but I'm just going to tell you bottom line up front. If you're doing CQB and for realsies, for real life, and you're by yourself, you're going to die anyway. Period. Okay? But if you do CQB enough times by yourself, or even with a highly trained team, your life expectancy is significantly reduced. So probably avoid CQB scenarios if you can, but if you get into them, you know, 20 inch is still extremely doable, and you can still get it done, okay? So I would highly recommend everyone go out and get a rifle length barrel, you know, whether that be 18 or 20. I prefer 20. Consider running it. Make sure you buy a quality barrel. It'll last forever, especially with that rifle length gas system, okay? That'll treat you a lot better. And train with something that's going to give you more velocity, right? That's really the message that I'm trying to send to you all, is you're going to have increased reliability with that rifle length gas system, and you're going to have increased accuracy in your actual groupings due to the stabilization of that round at varying ranges, okay? It's going to be better up close. It's going to be, you know, 3,200, 3,300 feet per second. You know, some people have said 3,400 with certain rounds. 3,400 feet per second is crazy. With a lot of your Mark 18s, you're barely, you know, you're going to get 2,700 barely, which is not lethal, right? You need over 2,700 feet per second to be able to kill at all ranges, right? And so with a lot of these shorty guns that you guys are building, you're really limiting your potential. You are making it so you're gonna have to get a heart and lungs, spine shot, or brain shot on your guy in Minecraft during that grid down scenario, or whatever you got, whatever situation you're facing. Because if you go and you start punching them with 55 grain in non-life-threatening areas, and you don't get any yaw or full delivery of energy to your target, they're just going to keep doing the bad thing you don't want them to do. There's plenty of people that have talked about zipping people up with 5.56 in Minecraft, and they still do the bad thing that they don't want them to keep doing because they were non-vital hits, and the round was not delivering enough energy to the intended target, okay? So, the message, the point. One, yes, the rifle, the PSA, the PSA Saber with the FN barrel. There's a whole video if you want to see what this gun is and why it is the way that it is. We'll have a whole video. It's going to be a 10,000 round review of this gun from PSA with a BCM bolt carrier group, FN barrel, and freaking Radiant Raptor charging handle, and a couple other things on the gun with Surefire Light and ACOG. There's a whole video on this gun specifically if you want to follow that project. But it has survived 500 rounds and it is zeroed, no issues so far. So I will report back once we get more rounds on the gun. But end state, if you want to turn your range ammo into duty ammo, get a longer barrel, okay? If you're running a Mark 18 or whatever, that's good for CQB distances, but you know, if you want a more lethal option that is going to be able to reach out and touch somebody with a much tighter group and a lot more energy and actually be effective, you're not engaging anything at 500, 600 meters with a Mark 18. Not with tight groups, not with consistency, and not with enough velocity to do much of anything unless you hit them in the heart and lungs or the brain. So I could hit you in the kidney at 600, 700 meters, and I'm going to get some pretty good performance out of my 20 inch with a 55 grain that you're not going to get with your the same exact bullet out of a shorter barrel. So if you want to play with the big dogs and have a better chance at distance, I would recommend getting a rifle length system, okay, or at least have one option, one upper that you can use with some sort of magnified optic like this ACOG to be able to reach out to at least 600-700 meters, right? All right, guys, I've ranted a lot. It's been a long week. I look forward to reading your comments on what AR you're running and why. I'll probably post a poll to see what guys are running and if they even have a 20-inch rifle. If not, or I look forward to seeing that discussion down below because you guys always like to have good input, which is fun. Thanks for supporting the channel. If you went over and you became a member of the Patreon from this video, that's awesome. Thanks for your help. We obviously could greatly need it because we're not repping any sponsors or anything like that. So every bit does help. Have a good weekend, guys. And until next time, it's going to be Trench Grenade, your average 20-inch rifle enjoyer that your mom said that we have at home, signing out. Cheers.